Welcome back, everyone, here to week 9 of Maroon Momentum. I am your host, Jonathan Duff, and I wish I could say we were coming back to a victorious Thursday, but we know that is not the case. But we're not going to dwell on it because there's a huge opportunity at home this week. Very excited for that. As always, I'll preview the North Alabama game a little bit here. It was a 35-14 game, really 35-7 until that last 6 minutes with that scary incident with Jalen Montgomery going down and having to go to the hospital. So we just want to I've heard that he's okay, but everyone just continue to extend their prayers to him, as that is a scary thing to go through. And obviously just anyone that watched it, it was hard to watch and it made you sick to your stomach. So prayers out to him. What we did well, I mean, when you look at the EKU game last week, we averaged 5.2 rushing yards a carry. Pretty awesome, because once again, Latham was averaging 7.6 yards a carry and Brady Hensley was averaging 12.2 per carry. He's had an awesome past few weeks, and honestly, they both have had great seasons so far. We had Marcus Calwise, who's going to be on later. He had 4 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown. Always good to see him get involved, as we know. One of the superstars on the field, and we'll get to talk to former quarterback Matt Morrissey here soon. I'm sure that was one of his favorite targets. And then also we had Brady Hensley and Latham getting involved in the passing game. Brady had 2 catches for 21 yards. Latham had 4 for 17. And then throw in the quarterback turned wide out. Cameron Herget had 2 catches for 19 yards. Where did it go wrong? Well, obviously we were very effective in the run game. Weren't as effective in the pass game, and on defense, we did give up the edge often on Saturday. We gave up 109 yards rushing to one guy, 98 yards to one guy, 5.5 average for their entire team, and 3 rushing touchdowns. So a rare lapse that we haven't really seen other than Louisville this year from the defense. And then, we lost the turnover battle, lost the possession battle by 11 minutes, and special teams didn't do well. So not going to get into it too much. That's the brief overview. Everyone watched it or heard about it by now. So now we're looking forward. We're excited. Obviously, last week was a letdown. But you know what's not a letdown is John Clark State Farm. So for your insurance needs, why don't you go ahead and give John Clark a chance, give him a call, go check him out in Richmond. They say you can always count on Clark for a reason, and it couldn't be more true. So I'm proud to be sponsored here by John Clark State Farm, and I really do believe in him. So everyone go check him out. Now, with that said, like I said, we're moving forward. We got a loaded show today. We've got not only a former EKU quarterback, but a current CFL quarterback, Matt Morrissey. I'm excited to talk to him, a good friend and a teammate. On top of that, we have TJ Mitchell, who's obviously the dynamic wideout and punt and kick returner that we know. He was busy last week, so we get to talk to him this week after, he's kind of exploded onto the scene. And then Marcus Calwise, the always reliable freshman All-American, who had a great game on Saturday. So we get to preview Tarleton after all of that. It's a loaded show. I'm excited to get into it. But first, I'm going to bring on my first guest, the former EKU quarterback, current CFL quarterback, Matt Morrissey.
What's up, Duff? Thanks for having
How
me.
are you, Matt? How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. The first thing that I want to talk to you about is just tell everyone what you've been doing over the past month and a half, because following along on your social media, it seems to be one of the coolest, times and trips and all these different things. So kind of tell everyone.
Yeah, so obviously after I was done playing, was just training, waiting for an opportunity, and it took a little longer than expected. And I just knew like kind of how my whole kind of career's been in college. Just you got to stay with it, put the work in, keep your faith in God, and when the time's right, the time's right. So I ended up in September. I got a call to go. Well, the end of August, I got a call to go down to Canada at the start of September for 2 weeks with their roster expansion. And so I was with the Ottawa Red Blacks in the CFL for 2 weeks practicing and stuff, and it went really well. And then they decided they wanted to sign me to a futures contract. So I go back down there in May. So, it's a blessing. Obviously, I'm not where I want to be at yet with my career, and I still have goals and everything, but it's a blessing to, sign a professional contract and have the opportunity to go and play and, hopefully use it as a stepping stone to get to, my final dreams and aspirations.
Absolutely. And we got to have your good friend, our good friend, Josh Carter on last week. And we kind of talked about, uh, to make it to the level where you're even considered, let alone sign this contract to be a professional athlete. I mean, it's the top 1% of 1%. So it's pretty incredible and remarkable that you've been able to get to that point. Obviously, you've had an amazing career. You took us to the playoffs last year. Talk about, the hard part of it, which is that patience. You come off of an incredible pro day, and you just got to work and grind it out and just, like you said, keep your faith in God, but just keep faith that it's going to happen. And then just talk about that grueling waiting period and how you kind of get through that.
Yeah, so so after the season's over, I'm down in I went down to Texas and I was doing a lot of training and stuff. And once pro day happened, I thought it went really well. And I thought, I would have got a call like to, get a camp invite or something like that. I wasn't expecting to get drafted or anything, but I was expecting to, hopefully get like a tryout in camp or anything, but it didn't come. And, that's kind of like the hardest part is just like you put in all this work, you're living right, you're doing everything you think's right. And you're like, dang, like why isn't the call coming? Why isn't my opportunity coming? Like, and I think like the biggest thing for me is just not to, like people say, like comparison is a thief of joy. And, that's the biggest thing is just staying grounded and, trusting God and not, questioning him. Cause it's hard. Cause, you put in all this work and you think you do so good. And you're like, dang, like God, like why is this guy getting a shot? I know I'm way better than him. Like, I'm putting in way more work than him. I'm doing all this right and stuff. And, it doesn't come. And then, you're at home and you're still training, you still believe in yourself. And, people are texting you like, hey, what's going on? Like, why are you going anywhere? This and that. And you're like, yeah, like I'm just staying ready. Like it's going to come. It's going to come. And, some people might, not believe it and think you're a fool and stuff. And then, the call finally came to go get a shot at the CFL. And, I'm blessed for that and I'm ready to make the most of that. So yeah, it's a long process, but I think I've always told people like as long as you put in the work and you keep your faith in God and it's not just like you got to keep your faith in God, but then you also got to show God you're worthy of it. Like you're not just looking for a handout. Like you're gonna put the work in. You're gonna do what you got to do to be successful as well.
No doubt. And comparison is the thief of joy. That's such a good quote. And that's so
Yeah,
true. And I can't imagine, how good it feels to get that call once it finally happens and to go there and see it. And not to mention the neat aspect of getting to go see another country. I know that you are someone who has seen a few countries here of recent, but also you have family in other countries. Kind of talk about that cool aspect. Had you kind of seen yourself ever living in Canada, and talk about the trips too? I mean, those are just unique experiences not everyone get to go on.
yeah. So yeah, no, I never saw myself living in Canada, but when I got out there, like it's Ottawa was really nice. They had us in a nice spot staying, and the facilities, everything. Like the league is a great league, so I'm really excited to play there as well as like they got a great fan base. In Canada, like people are showing up to those games and filling them up. So, like you're gonna feel like a pro and stuff. And, I'm excited. It was really nice out there. And yeah, I never thought I would live out there, but I'm excited to get out there again. It was nice. And then yeah,
Yeah,
so one
carry
more.
on
So,
with
yeah,
the family.
after I had signed, like I was back home and I knew I wasn't going anywhere till May. And I had been training and stuff like that. And, I've always wanted to travel, but playing football, you're busy during the nice months. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to go traveling while it's cold. Like that's like the only time you really get time to go traveling is like the winter. You're busy during the August. You got the summer workouts and then August fall camp starts. So you're busy kind of while the weather's nice to go walk around and see things. So after I signed with Ottawa, I was back home. I knew I wasn't going anywhere till May, and I was like, I've always wanted to travel. Like uh, I might as well go do it now. And so I went and did 2.5 weeks of traveling, and then I came back and I went to the EKU versus Austin P game, and now I'm back in Dallas and starting back training and getting back on that grind. So I'm ready to go in May.
That's awesome. It's so cool just you getting to travel, and obviously I saw you at the Austin P game, so to hear about it and to see some of the photos and everything that you've posted and stuff, that's cool. To get that experience to go to Canada is super cool. We talk about you talk about, the professional atmosphere of Canada, and that's become more of I think I've become more aware to it because Jeremy, one of our old teammates, got to go up there, and he won the Grey Cup, and so he got to experience what winning the Grey Cup in Canada was like, which
Yeah.
was unbelievable. I mean, they were treated world class. They were going to all these big events and different things, hockey games and different stuff, being honored. And now you got Peyton Collins, you're starting left tackle last year at
Shout out to Peyton.
EKU.
He just got
Yep.
some awards.
Yep. So he's up for offensive rookie of the or wait, just rookie of the year or something. I think it's rookie of the year in
Yeah, I
Canada.
think he got offensive rookie of the year for his team though, or something.
Oh,
So
for his team. Okay. So he's rookie of the year for his team. And so that's pretty incredible. And he's
yeah.
also on the number one team right now.
Mm-hmm.
So have you reached out? Have you talked to him yet? Have you heard anything? Have you gotten any insight from him on what it's going to be like to play in Canada?
I talked to him a little bit. I haven't talked to him in a while, obviously, because he's in season and stuff and busy
Right.
like that. But I was actually kind of bummed out because I think so. When the 2 weeks I was there, they played like the BC Lions at home, but then I think like the week after I left, Saskatchewan came into town, so I would have got to see him if I was there for another week. But
Oh, man.
it's been cool to see, and obviously like Peyton's a guy who definitely deserves everything coming his way and stuff. So it's nice to see like a good guy get some recognition and stuff like that. So I love playing with Peyton, and I'm excited to go against him. I think it'll be fun to see him at the next level and stuff.
Absolutely. It's going to be so cool. It's already been cool watching him. He's on the number one team, and they have a chance to go make a run at the Grey Cup. To go see another one of our guys up there, making a run next year for a Grey Cup. It's exciting.
Yeah, hopefully,
I know that obviously you've known, and I'm sure your sights have been on the CFL and the NFL and other, professional leagues, but have you done your research on all the different rule differences, and how hard do you think that will be to adjust to some of the differences with the motions and different stuff that there is?
Yeah, so I found out a lot about it once I got out there. So I got to like actually go to practice and participate for 2 weeks. So, that's the plus too, is that, I got to experience it a little bit, and, I seen the rules and saw how things operate. So, that's something I feel good about heading into May. It's not going to be like completely new and stuff. So now I'm just at home, just, continuing to watch the game and, learn the little things about the game and where trying to get any advantage I can.
That's awesome, man. And I mean, proud of you, and it's earned, that it's earned. It's deserved and earned. You've put in the work to get there, and you deserve this opportunity. It's super cool that you've gotten to be able to sign a professional contract. Kind of going backwards now, looking at time in college and time at EKU. You were a guy who had to come, you came to EKU out of the portal. Talk to me kind of, because now, the portal is huge. I mean, if you want to win games, you go into the portal, and our quarterback this year, Miles Burkett, is out of the transfer portal. Talk about the challenges, because I'm sure there's got to be challenges coming out of the portal as the quarterback, knowing that you're going to be the guy and having to learn a whole new system. And what did those challenges bring, and how did you kind of iron them out?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of challenges transferring in, especially as like a quarterback, because you're expected to do a lot more than just play quarterback. You got to be a leader. You got to be someone that people listens to and keep people on the right foot, so it's the right path. It's kind of hard, like coming in and being that new guy and trying to like have that voice right away. Say you come in the spring and it's like you haven't played yet, and it's like you can't just come in off rip just yelling at these guys, and they're like, we don't even know if you can do what you say. So, I think the big thing when you come in somewhere new and you haven't played a season yet is just, lead by example, put the work in and, get your voice from being, a hard worker, not just a player and stuff. So, yeah, I think that's one of the challenges. And then, just like as a quarterback, learning your receivers, learning the offense, learning, what the coach is going to call in certain situations, knowing why he's going to call this on 3rd and long, or, you know what I mean? Like knowing what he's looking to get out of each play. So that's why I think, especially your first year, it's really hard for the transition. I always was like, dang, I wish I had one more year at EKU, because, you always see like every quarterback has that like second year growth. So yeah, I think those are some of the challenges. But what made it easy for me was just the guys we had on the team were very accepting of me. We had a team that wanted to work, that wanted to be good. So when someone else came in who wanted, and they saw what I wanted the same things as them, I feel like they accepted me and gravitated towards me. And then just the receivers, we always would get out throwing and things like that. So that helped make it a little bit easier. And running backs, tight ends, everyone would come out when we go throw. The O-line would be out there doing their stuff. So that kind of helped make it easy for me.
Definitely, you were a personality that fit in like a glove. I mean, like a hand in a glove when you came into the culture that we were already trying to build here and we're building. You were just the perfect guy to bring in, and you talk about, earning the respect of your teammates by just working hard and all the other things that you were the liaison of outside of practice to get the guys together. You had a younger receiving core, getting them together and working all together in unison. I mean, I think that's why you were named captain of the team, right? As a transfer, it's a pretty big deal. Talk to me now beyond just the portal. I think that you see this with every team in America. When you go in and you start a season, the offense tends to be a little bit lagged behind in most cases that you have to build up. And I've talked to some people before on the show, and we talked about, the difference of going against your own team versus going against a defense and in a game is completely different. What's your take on the steady improvement of offenses as a season goes on, and kind of what it takes each week to get to your peak sooner, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So I think to get to your peak sooner, I would say, is just finding your identity as a team. I think last year it took us a little bit to find like our identity as a team. And I think we ended up being a little more run heavy than, we probably thought we were going to be. And, even me coming in my last year, like I thought I was just going to, throw the ball all over the field, like throw it every play almost. And, that just with injuries and how the team was set up, that just wasn't our identity last year. And I had to take on more of a running role and, go earn some yards when needed and, maybe make some plays out the pocket with the receivers and stuff. So, yeah, I think that's the big thing just for offenses is just, not freaking out when it's not going wrong. Obviously EKU, like the defense is playing great right now. So just, I think, once the offense, they just find their identity, they'll be smooth, they'll be fine. It took us a few games last year. I think actually this Tarleton game, when we played Tarleton last year, I think that was a big game for us to get us, back on the right track and be like, okay, playoffs isn't out of the picture. We actually have a chance with this team.
Definitely. I think there's a lot of parallels to last year in the sense of there's so much opportunity left on the schedule. And that's what we kind of, when people led the players only meetings and we're talking, and it's like, man, there are so many gettable games. I mean, we played 3 ranked teams in a row. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity to go out there and prove yourself. And I think that, the offense stepped up to the challenge, and so did the defense and the special teams for the most part. One thing about you is that you were kind of a chameleon, I'd say, in the sense of like, there are games, and I kind of went through the stats. Like, there's a game like West Georgia where we need you to throw 277 yards here to win the game. We have games where you're throwing 265 because we need you to, 230 where we need you to. And then this Tarleton game, last year where we don't need to throw the ball more than 10 times a game because Josh is just absolutely eating up clock and dominating. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's so hard. You think of quarterbacks that are one type, you're a pocket passer or you're a runner or whatever. But how important is it to be a chameleon like that? And how were you able to identify in games like, all right, this is what we need to do? Because I think the game plan adjusted a lot on the fly.
Yeah, I think what made it easy for me is obviously, like you said, like Josh was just having such a great year. And, that's one of my best friends from EKU. So it's like, I love seeing him go out and have 100-yard rushing game. You know what I mean? So I think it was easy because it was like, you know what, like I like seeing him have success. So it kind of made me like, all right, if I got to go run, then, that's what I got to do. I think the biggest thing was just, coming from the school I came from, we didn't have a lot of wins. Like we didn't have a great season. And I knew just like my last year, I wanted to win games. Like I wanted, it's my last year at a school. You can't really leave a legacy in 1 year. But I'm like, at least if I could be a part of a playoff team and lead them on a run or something like that, that would be something good to come back to and stuff. So yeah, I think it was easy for me just because the guys on our offense, even like BB had a great year last year as well. Like he had a lot of runs and stuff, and then when the time came to throw, it was time to throw, and the receivers made it easy. Obviously, like you said, Calwise in here today getting interviewed, and he was someone who like I leaned on a lot, especially towards the end of the season, and I felt like every time I went to him last year, he made me look good and stuff. That North Alabama touchdown he had is like one of my favorite plays because he caught it, put the foot in the ground, went the other way, and went and scored, and that put us on top. And even late in the games like Austin P, I was leaning on him heavy, and teams know we're going to Calwise, and he's still making those catches and stuff. So that that's what's special about him.
Absolutely. And I think, you hit on the fact that you wanted to go out there and win the games. And I believe, your time at EKU, what you're remembered as is a winner. I mean, you did what it took. You went out, you would go for 40-yard rushes if you needed to go get us, and secure us a ball game. And you did. Talk to me. Do you remember anything from Tarleton last year in specific with like defense? I don't know. I didn't do all my homework on coordinators being the same and stuff like that, but it's a similar position. They're a top 10 team. Do you remember anything specifically when you're out there like, man, these guys are coached really well on this, or anything specific?
Yeah, I think obviously like a lot of those Texas schools, they're always going to have a lot of depth, and they're always going to be a solid team. So yeah, last year they were kind of they didn't really have any weaknesses on defense. They had a good D line, they had good DBs and stuff. So I think if I remember correctly, they played a decent amount of man last year, and they had a really good D lineman. So kind of what I remember about them. But
yeah, you are a you've been to an EKU game. You might be the good luck charm. You were there when they had beat number 15 Austin P. So you could be a good luck charm. You may have to come this week, but just as a guy who went through last season and led the team down a stretch and was a team captain and helped lead player meetings to right the ship, what is your advice, coming off a tough loss last week, to the team moving forward with so much opportunity in front of them?
I think just stay together. I think the big thing in any team, the hardest thing is, for any team is, say defense isn't doing good. The offense is like, oh, we got a terrible defense. Or the offense isn't doing good. The defense is like, oh, we got a terrible offense. And, that's not right. If you want to win, you got to pick each other up. If you're talking bad on one side of the ball, they're not going to play with the confidence that they need to be successful. So I think just, sticking together, building each other up, speaking words of encouragement into each other, and, really making sure like, this kid, like, he might not be having the best year, but, if I talk positive to him and, tell him about some of the times where I've seen him do good and let him know that I believe in him, I think that helps that helps someone, take their game to the next level. So I think that's the big thing. Just stay together and, stay positive. And, it's always, you never know what can happen in one play in football. That's the beauty of the game.
There's no question about that. Well, I appreciate your time on here. When are you heading back? When are you heading to Canada? Do you have a date yet, or kind of a month when you go up there?
So training camp starts like the end of May for rookie, like all that stuff. And then training camp's end of May. So I'll go back there end of May. I'll probably be back and forth between Dallas and home, Chicago, like until then, just, training and just trying to coach and stuff like that. So,
well, I'm sure everyone watching is going to be following along through the EKU social media, but I'm sure I'll be reaching out to you as well. It's super exciting. It's a professional contract that was very much earned, and congratulations. I'm excited for you, and I hope to see you at another EKU game this year.
Yeah, no, I hope. That was one thing when I went back, I was talking to my mom about. I'm like, I went to like a few different schools. Obviously, people know my journey and stuff, and I'm just so thankful I found a place like EKU for my last year, like somewhere where I look forward to going back. I enjoy my time, like met so many great people, and all my memories I made on the field and off the field, all the people I met and the relationships I've had. Like I'm so thankful for it. So I'm just blessed in that part. So
It's a special
I
place.
might be back soon. Who knows? We'll see.
Good, good. It's a special place, and you take a team to the playoffs, you're always going to be welcomed back with open arms. But everyone is welcome back with open arms. So,
Yeah.
like I said, man, congratulations. You deserve it. Hope to talk to you again soon and see you at a game.
Yep, you might have to go give them do the chapel again. I remember you had like the best one last year.
I'll talk to Andy. I think he's on a win streak right now, so I don't think
Yeah.
they're letting there be much change. Apparently, he's been the guy every time we've won. So I
Oh
think
yeah,
we got
that's
to
good.
stick with him until
Yeah.
yeah, this year. That's what I heard. But no, I appreciate that. And like I said, man, I can't wait to hopefully see you soon. But I definitely will be reaching out to talk to you soon.
All right, definitely. Have a good one.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. All right. That was quarterback Matt Morrissey. Super grateful to have him on the show. Cemented a legacy for himself here and now a professional football player. How cool is that? So, and an even better person, might I add. That's one of the great things about getting to, just host this show and get to have my friends on and just be able to talk to them like that, and a guy who just means a lot to the program, but also is an incredible person. So another incredible person and someone who means a lot to the program is our next guest, and that is the dynamic kick returner, punt returner, and wide receiver, TJ Mitchell. What's going on, TJ? How
I
are
can't
you?
even hear you, bro.
You can't hear me?
What's up, bro? I can't hear you. Can't hear you.
How about now?
Nah, I can't hear.
Here,
I'm
let's
finna
see if
rejoin.
we. Okay, yeah, we can do
Okay.
that. Here, we'll see if that works right there. But until that, I am excited to have TJ on. TJ got to, he kind of he returned a kick for a touchdown against the number 15 team in the country, Austin P, in a much needed situation 2 weeks ago, and then last week he got the ultimate good kick returner treatment where he could not. He did not get the ball. He did not get many returns. I think he had 2 returns on the week. The rest of the time, they were kicking sky kicks to him. But as we know in the past with Jalen Montgomery and different people, so incredibly important and vital to have a good kick returner and punt returner. So super grateful to have him on the squad and to be able to talk to him. He's back on, so let's see if we can get him now. Here's TJ Mitchell. TJ, how is it now?
You hear me?
Can you hear me now? Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm
You
trying
got
to
me?
get the connection.
Hope we're getting bad connection here. How about now, TJ? You got me? We are having connection
Oh, you?
issues.
Oh, I'm here. What's up, bro?
You got me? How
Yes,
are you,
sir.
TJ?
I'm good. How
Uh,
you doing?
I'm good, man. I want to talk about how does it feel to be getting treated like the ultimate kick returner right now, getting sky kicks last week?
Uh, it's a dream. It's a dream and a curse at the same time. I learned from my mentor, J Ma. He just gave me the wisdom to just go out there and be myself. He tell me like all the time before I go to the field, like we can be a 1-2. We can do this. Like just go out there and be yourself. Don't let nobody encourage you to do nothing. Just be. You don't have to do nothing special to be special. You know what I'm saying? Just I got the God's gift, so
Mhm.
he tell me that all the time. He just tell me to go out there and do what I got to do.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I can tell you from the days where you would go out there on scout last year,
Yeah,
I've been saying that you might be one of the hardest people ever to tackle. So
yeah.
I am glad to see you back there. I'm glad to see you making plays.
Thank you.
Obviously, you don't get, I mean, there's a lot of teams that go many years without getting kick return for touchdowns. We've been fortunate to have several people with that dynamic capability, but talk to me about just as that play unfolds. Obviously, it's a dream to get that. Tell me what you see when that play unfolds against Austin P and what that feeling was afterwards.
So weeks prior, we played West Georgia, and I almost broke one. It was my first
Mhm.
kick return ever. I almost broke one, and then I seen Matt the day before. He was like, "You got to get a kick return," and me and Mont was talking about it. He was like, and me and Matt had a bet that I was gonna get one. So came to the game. We went to the our little pregame box before the play, and I was just telling the defender. I was telling the blocker, we was like, if you hold up for 1 second, it's gonna break. Like I feel it, like it's just gonna break. Uh, they kicked the ball off to me. It was a little in the end zone. I told him before I was gonna bring it out regardless where it was at. So he kicked it to me. Daquan had an amazing block. I just followed Quan block, and then when I seen a hole open up, it was wraps. It was just free grass, and then you just got to catch me from there.
Absolutely, and they couldn't do it. So tell me about the trust that you have to have in that whole blocking group in front of you, because I would say being a returner is one of the scariest positions on the field. And that comes from a guy who's never returned a kick. But I would imagine seeing everyone run at you while you're standing still would be terrifying. So talk to me about the trust that you have to have in your blockers and the
Uh,
fearlessness to just field certain balls.
Yeah, you just got to be ultimately tough and have so much trust with your brother. See, we at EKU we did a lot of stuff. Like you've been here before. We did a lot of stuff in the summer. We did a lot of team bonding. So it built that bond that I can trust my teammates to come together and be like, okay, they're gonna block for me. I know they won't let nobody hurt me, and I'll put anything on the line for them. They'll do the same for me. So that's the trust I got for the guys. And then I have my mentor, like my big brother, Daquan Stanley, number 19. He's just there for me. He gonna always tell me he'll never lead me wrong. So I take trust in his steps. Wherever he go, I'm going. And you just gotta have ultimate fearless. Like when you out there, you gotta be yourself. Don't let nobody shame you down. It's balls that's not filled, but you always gotta think about it like everything in the air you have to catch. And that's how winners win games. I remember my dad was a big David Hester fan. So I used to always see him field everything. And J Mont fielded everything. So it's like I gotta field everything. I don't want the ball to touch the ground one time. Cause it touched the ball one time. It's contagious to the ground, the ball's contagious to the ground. So you just gotta field everything.
That's good. That's good. I mean, I don't disagree with you. When you look at the kick returner and punt return position, so you talk about learning from Jamont, and Jamont would bust these returns when we needed it the most. You know, it's a play that can absolutely flip the script in a game. You look at your touchdown against Austin P. I mean, our defense had a pick six and you had a touchdown, and that's what made it 17-20 at half, you know. So when when you go out there, is it I'm just going to do my job, or is it like, man, this can be the play to go win the game? Is it a little bit of both? What's the mentality as you're going out there?
Uh you always gotta have a mentality that you can be a game changer. Cause even though offense and defense can be good, special teams is the thing in the middle that can make everything better. Any play on special teams can flip the script and change the momentum so fast, and it can go down or it can go up. So you gotta have the mentality to go out there and be like, okay, I'm better than everyone on this field. And if my guys do their 111, it's over. I know we're gonna win. So,
That's awesome. That's such a good mentality, and you're right. You have to have that confidence to be, that guy back there in that moment. When you look at a practice, what does to the person who's watching this that doesn't know, they know that you're a receiver and they know that you're running routes and doing different stuff. How are you working on your return game in practice during the week?
being a receiver like actually helps a little bit because I'm always focused on the ball, constantly focused on the ball, and in between practice we have times that we get with the kickers and they punt us little sky kicks, and Coach Cox throws balls in the air to adjust to and everything. And we get ground balls, we get everything. So during them periods when I got time, we get with Coach Cox. He give us balls to catch, ground balls, anything we need to be successful in a special teams game, the return game. And Coach Day always, I watched film with Jay Mont. He showed me what's the do's and don'ts. He give me what's the average kicking yards for the punter, like everything. Who's their best player? So it's like I just get in where I can fit in as a receiver too. It's like you always focus on the ball. So it's when everything's in the air, it must come down and you must have it.
That's good. That's another thing, man. I mean, that's a good saying, and it couldn't be more true. Now let's kind of switch to wide receiver. There's one thing that's just so interesting to me about you that I want to know. When people are going through recruiting processes in high school, you see the kid that's 6'6", 215 playing receiver or something, freak of nature, and you're like, yeah, I got to offer that guy. But you're a
Yeah.
guy, that was smaller, and you still had all of that big interest, but I'm sure you had to work that much harder to get that interest, just given, size comparatively to maybe this 5-star or whatever. But you had all this interest. You clearly have all this talent. Talk about kind of having to go through, finding where you're going to show off your game and having to maybe battle some of that, people just passing the eye test of whatever.
Yeah, so in high school, I wasn't the biggest. I'd say I was at least 140 in high school. I was really light, but I ran 10.5 in 100 in high school. So I was a track star, and every time I stepped on the field, I always had the mentality that I was faster than everybody. So I don't want to get touched at all. So the thing that separated me is the separation from everybody on the field. I'll catch quick screens, take it to the house. They didn't even want to kick me in high school. It was that bad. I had 6 returns to the house.
Sheesh.
And as a receiver, I had 1,000 yards all 4 years. So I was just catching the ball, and it's not too many people that can run with me. So I was running post routes, go routes. It was easy. So that's the only thing that separated me from everybody else. And I'll go to camps and run routes. It's like I'm already fast. I'll go some camps. I just go to the camp and do the 40, and it's like they already offer me. So that's really how I separated myself from taller, stronger guys. I was just super fast, super quick, and just learn how to get around things.
Yeah. Like I said, I've said that you are one of the hardest people, if not the hardest person that I've ever tried to tackle in a practice or anything. I mean, you're hard to get a hold of. You are one of the shiftiest people on each field. You're one of the fastest people on each field. When it comes to playing receiver, I'm sure you have not watched prior episodes, but I've been
Yeah.
calling for a TJ Mitchell end around, a TJ Mitchell screen pass, because
Yeah.
you do have that dynamic ability. Talk to me just kind of about, last year I think you dealt with some injuries and just being a freshman, you came in, you had some things we want to redshirt you, and then being able to get on the field this year. Talk about last year just being a developmental year, and was that hard to go through? Was it something you needed? Was it something, how did last year feel for you, and how did it set you up for the success you're having this year?
Last year was a blessing in disguise. I'm not gonna lie. I came in still 140. Coach Brown put me on the meal plan. I got heavier. I found the speed of the game. Like in college, the game is way faster. People is way faster. Everything unfolds fast. So I just got the feel of the game better. I learned and had a connection with my teammates. And sometimes it was hard because I wanted to actually be on the field with my brothers. Like it's like being hurt. It's some things you'd be like, dang, I wish I can help. But it's
Mhm.
like I was just there. Um, it was a blessing in disguise. I get to see everybody work hard. Even my roommate Marcus Calwise, he was out there balling. So it's like that was happy. It brought me joy, and I just got to be patient and trust in God. So it really wasn't like a big deal for me. It was just a big develop year. I just wanted to get faster, stronger, and better, and get a feel of the game, and that's all I needed to actually get on the field this year. And when I got on the field, it's like I just made it work. And now I know the speed. We had one of the top defenses in the UAC, probably in FCS last year
Definitely.
and this year. So it's seeing the game from Marcellus Maddox, uh, Mike Smith, they were
Mhm.
dogs. I get to go against them in scout team. So it's just like, dang, like these guys is really good and I can play with them. So I know I can play with anybody else. So they gave me the confidence to go out there.
Absolutely. I mean, and we're glad in hindsight. Obviously, there were times last year where I wanted you out on that field, but
Yeah.
there's times in hindsight where we're happy that you got an extra year of eligibility and that you're fully healthy coming into the season and that you're succeeding the way that you are. You mentioned your roommate Marcus Calwise, which I'm excited to talk to here shortly.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me about your class, I've talked to Brady Hensley about this on this show. Your class is exceptional. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a great recruiting class, but also I know you have a lot of wide receiver friends in that recruiting class with Marcus Calwise and Kyle Vaca. Talk about how
yeah,
close you guys are, how cool it is to have all the success you all are having at a young age.
yeah. It's crazy because me, Cal, and Mark is all from Georgia. So when we got here, we got real close. So it's like the Georgia boys really stuck together, and we kind of got in with everybody else. But it's a blessing. Like they're my brothers, and I love them to death. We when I first got here, we took each other in. You know, we learned from each other. We learned its and bitty things about each other. You know, to take it in our game, and they're amazing players. Like they playing on the field this year. You know, they getting what they deserve. So it's
Mhm.
amazing. I love to see it. We got a good
Definitely. I
class.
mean, you guys,
Yeah, we got great receivers this year. Like in my
that's what I was
classes,
gonna say.
yeah.
Yeah, it's an exceptional class. I mean, and then you look at Brady Hensley and what he's doing. I mean, your offensive group there is incredible, but also you've got some guys on the defense, Caden Smith, who's balling out. You got I gotta give a shout out. You got Quade Luganville in there snapping.
Quay, he's a dog.
Absolutely. So it's cool. It's so cool to see you guys, and you guys truly are an incredible class that we brought in. Now I kind of want to talk about, you're a part of the offense, you're a part of special teams. Coming off of last week in general with both groups, even what was kind of the message? Obviously, you guys did not that was not the outcome you guys wanted, but what was kind of the message this week to right the ship for homecoming?
uh, it's protect the kid always.
Mhm,
That's our motto. We always got to protect the kid, but everybody just got to do their 111 and do their job. You know,
mhm.
we the best team when we play together, and we got to be exceptional on all three phases of the game. So offense clicking, defense clicking, and special teams clicking. It can't just be offense and defense not click and special teams clicking. We all got to be the best. We got to be the best at our level to play against a number 3 team like Tarleton State. We played Austin P. They were number 15, and we clicked on all 3 levels. So that shows like
Mhm.
we're a different team when we playing together. So as long as we do our 111, everybody we gonna turn out winners at the end of the night.
I can't agree more. And I think that we've seen flashes in different games of like, man, offense looked good. Man, defense looked really good. Man, special teams looked good today. And then we saw it come together in that second half against Austin P, which you guys came from a 3-point halftime deficit and then won by 2 scores. So I think you're exactly right. When you look ahead to Tarleton, is there anything specifically, without giving away the playbook or something like that, but like that you're seeing on film, or maybe that fans could know and expect kind of out of what Tarleton does well, or what we can expect out of this game that we're going to watch this weekend?
They got an exceptional offense. Their offense is definitely amazing. They
Mhm.
like top in the nation. The best group, and their defense is the secondary. Like, so we gonna have a challenge of playing men. They gonna play man to man coverage, and we just gotta win and be ourselves. Special teams is they're mediocre. Like we just gotta go out there and ball. You know, that's it.
Yeah, and
They just an
let the
overall good
dynamic
team.
players make plays.
Yes, sir.
They are.
Always.
They are. They're a good team, but we're going to let the dynamic players go make plays, and let's see another return for touchdown this week at
Got you.
homecoming.
I got you.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna do the
This
same
is a
thing.
Matt
I'm gonna do
deal.
this. I'm gonna do the same thing me and Matt did. I got you on a punt return or a kick return tomorrow,
All
Saturday
right,
night.
that's a deal.
That's
That's a deal. That's a deal.
that's a
Well,
deal.
TJ, I can't appreciate and say thank you enough for coming on the show tonight. You're a busy man to get a hold of. Obviously, they had you tied up with media last week, so to
Hey,
get you
you
on
know I
tonight,
got you. I do anything for Duff, bro. You know that.
I
You
know.
know.
I right back at you. I really do appreciate it. You should have seen me jumping in the stands against Austin P when I saw you return that to the touchdown. I maybe probably wouldn't want to go back and watch myself fist pump in the air, but it was exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing another this week. But thank you
Sir,
so much for coming on today. I appreciate it.
appreciate you, Brody.
Absolutely. That is TJ Mitchell wide receiver, punt returner, kick returner for your EKU Colonels. And now I get to talk to the last but not least, I don't even know if I said that right. Anyways, a very important guest here, Marcus Calwise, the All-American, freshman All-American last year, key difference maker on the team this year. And here he is, Marcus Calwise. Mark, how are you?
What's going on? You can hear me?
I can hear you. You can hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. How are you?
I'm good, man. Just living life, man.
Yep,
Blessed.
I've held you on here for a while, so I apologize for the delay from what I told you what time, but you're a busy man this homecoming week. You're a wanted man in the media, and you're wanted to hear from. But let's take away the game that happened last week, and let's talk about your personal success last week, finding the end zone and just that one specific play. How did that feel? I know it always feels good to get in the end zone, but 4 catches, 64 yards. You're someone that clearly the offense has wanted to get involved in the game, and you haven't gotten all the passes that maybe you got last year just due to different things. But how does it feel? 4 catches, 64 yards, touchdown. Are you confident coming into this week? How did that moment feel, and what are you going to do building on that for future weeks?
Man, confidence is definitely key. Uh, yeah, I had a pretty good game, but also we didn't have the outcome that we wanted to have. So
Mhm.
just the I don't really like to speak too much personal things. Because it's
Mhm.
not like it's not a personal game. So just like of course, yeah, I scored a touchdown, but on all cylinders, we didn't execute, and I say it like that because I really feel like we have like a real dominant team, and Coach Wells, he preached about something, he preached about it all the time, and we always preach like we've been preaching about details and consistency, and I just think we got too comfortable. We thought North Alabama was gonna be cakewalk, just come
Mhm.
in there, beat them, and then just leave. But they they felt like they felt like they could have beat us last year, so their whole thing coming in this year was beat EKU. And they came out, they gave us their best game, and we dragged our feet, and the best
Mhm.
team came out with that win.
You hear a lot about, kind of a roller coaster of emotions when you're off a high of beating the number 15 team at home by 2 touchdowns. And then, kind of looking down and, a lot of people don't always talk about it, but to hear you be able to talk about it hindsight into the, the psyche of the team, I think that that's a very real thing when you're sitting there and you're looking at the schedule and you're like, all right, well, we got Tarleton coming in here in 2 weeks. We need to focus on that. Let's just take care of little, North Al with what their record's showing. And then for them to sneak up on you is very, realistic. You talk about past results as well. And you have a lot of returning players on different teams that hold that to their heart. Oh, I don't like this team because of what happened last year. What's the psyche going into this week when it comes to Tarleton, a team that we've kind of knocked off 2 years in a row? Coming into our house on homecoming, what's the message and what's the psyche of the team with that?
We definitely got a lot of anger, like frustration, anger built up from us losing this last game, and of course, for one, it's our homecoming, and then two, like I said, Coach Wells always preach like teams gonna come in here and they gonna always give EKU their best shot, and I think Coach Wells said the 4 times we played them, I think we beat them. I'm not sure if that's, or he
Yep.
might have said 3, but they played them, and we just haven't beat them, and I just like, and their head coach like he really feels like they got a chance this year, and I feel like with the guys that we have, and of course we got a young team, but I feel like each game we've matured and got and grown and got way stronger than week one. And I really feel like us coming into this game, it's just gonna come down to who's better than who. Because they're like defensive wise, they love playing man. So it's gonna we gotta beat them in man, and same on defense. I don't I play offense, but I'm pretty sure we gonna mix some things around, but
Mhm.
we gonna put our best player on their best player, and we gonna stuff whatever we gotta stuff, and hopefully come out with a win.
Definitely. I love the attitude and I love the thought process behind all of that. You talk about a team that's going to play tough man, coverage. There's one thing that you do really well, and you draw a lot of attention to yourself, and that's in the run game. You're downfield blocking, and sometimes, people don't like when you block them. I've seen a lot of chippiness, even from freshman Calwise, let alone sophomore Calwise. What do you do, to develop that aspect of your game? And I think it's clear that you take pride in it, but talk to me about like the run blocking part of your game.
It's definitely just something that I've grew upon myself just like at a coming into high school, I'll say. It's because, a lot me from being my size, it's harder for me to go to the next level of any situation because of my height. And I think doing something different, I feel like that's something different in my game that a lot of people don't do. I mean, you got some people that do it, but when you got a receiver blocking downfield and you see that and then a big run breaks, a coach loves that. So like, and Coach Cox, he always tell me like, when you don't got the ball and you block it, he said good things gonna come to you. And I just that I just think of that sometimes, and I just go out there, and like, to be honest, it make me it's fun, to be honest, like going out there blocking somebody, making them mad, and they just talking stuff, and the whole time like I just pancake you on the ground, but you mad and you talking crazy and things like that, and I run back to the side, run back to the line of scrimmage, do it again, and then now he frustrated, so like the same thing. I do it again and again and again, and eventually he's so frustrated that I run a route and then I like it come open or something like that. So like
Mhm.
that's just how I approach certain things and situations.
That's next level thought process right there and antagonizing, to get people out of their game and in their head and different stuff like that. You've definitely drawn a few penalties. I've seen those. But you are someone that frustrates DBs in the run game, which is, I think, a huge benefit to your game and just prop to your game that people don't even talk about just because you've been such a dynamic pass catcher in the past and currently. When you go through a game, obviously, as a wide receiver, it's hit and miss, right? You may have a game where you got 10 catches. You might have a game where you didn't get targeted at all. Talk about kind of, I'm very interested in just like the position itself when you're going through a game and you're not getting the ball. I'm sure there's a little level of frustration because you want to be the guy at the end of the day. You always, you have that mentality and you want to be the guy. But talk about just in your route running and different stuff, like what you try to do, and just talk about being in that situation.
I mean, it's definitely like a level of stress. Like, we come to college like receivers, we come play receiver to catch the ball, and if we don't get catches, like of course it's gonna be frustrated, but like I said before when I first got on here, it's a team oriented like sport. So I mean, regardless of the fact if I get the ball or not, I'm gonna block my tail off, and BB or Braden Hensley be in. They gonna get their rocks off and they gonna score. Like you said, every game is not gonna be my game, or every game isn't gonna be the running backs game or somebody else's game. So just you got to play your cards how you like how they put out in front of you. So if I don't get the ball, like I said, of course it's gonna be frustration, but half of the time I just take it out on the defense. When I block. So that it made me feel better. That also makes me feel a little better, like just going out there blocking somebody, putting them on their butt, and see how mad they get when I block them and things like that. So it's just, yeah, that's really pretty much it.
It's a good way to look at it. A lot of people talk about, when you come into college, there's a learning adjustment. Majority of freshmen redshirt. There's a change of pace and speed, as TJ and I just talked about, but there's just a lot difference in maturity and different stuff like that. You came in and were a freshman All-American. So was it just an easy transition for you, or kind of what was last year like when you walked in and you kind of commanded a starting role right away?
I'm not gonna say it was an easy transition, but my high school coach, shout out to my dog, Coach Skill, he prepared us. He prepared us for college. I mean, shoot, we was in high school, but the preparation for college was just top tier. So just coming in here, like, of course, I'm not like, yeah, I won freshman All American and things like that, but I also had mistakes too. So and that's just anybody. But people don't always like from outside looking in. They see, okay, he either doing really bad or he doing really good. So like, but and it was in the mix of doing really good, I had a lot of mistakes. You know, like maybe I wasn't supposed to run the route like this or do things or block like this. So I mean, it was definitely like a lesson, like a learning lesson, a stepping stone for me. And I, like TJ said, got a role model, Daquan Stanley. He was just that role model that you needed. Like if I didn't know something, he had my back. He was gonna tell me like, oh, this right here. And he been in college for a little while, so he know how certain things are like. And one thing I will say, coming into college, in high school, of course I knew man to man and things like that, but coming into college, you learn I learned a lot more like how coverages break down and things like that, and how you supposed to run certain routes and things like so. It was just it was hard, but at the same time, like I was able to brace the impact and keep straining, keep striving, and just doing what I had to do.
That's awesome. When you look at, last year you were kind of a new guy, so you came in, and Matt had already been here for a spring. So, um, honestly, you were the new guy, but you look at this year, and Miles comes in and transfers in, and you are the returning. I mean, you may be a sophomore, but you really are a leader on that offense. What kind of initiative do you take? And the receivers to kind of reel Miles along in terms of just building your chemistry that we know is so important out of a receiver and quarterback connection?
I mean, I really just learned from the guys that were here last year, and it's how they approach the things. Like you got John Stone, you got really the whole line. You got Peyton, you got Matt, Josh Carter. I can go on. The list goes on. We had a lot of role models, a lot of guys that weren't just great players, but they were great like mentors and coaches to the younger guys. Like, and I didn't even name some of the defensive players. Like we got a lot of defense, like Madon Rhino, Mike Smith. Like I said, the list can go on, but just approaching a situation like that, just taking small things in, me being able to be coachable from another player and just listening to okay like this is how instead of doing it like this you might like try like this and instead of being like hard-headed and oh no man I want to do it like this I'm gonna do it my way you know took coaching and just thankfully like it worked in my favor and then just like bringing into this year and just like having a new quarterback Miles it's basically the same thing I mean talking to him. And then we got, like I said, we got younger guys, like freshman guys that came in this year too. And just being able to be a role model to them and just being able to coach them up from like small things that I got coached up. Like it don't really take that much to coach up players because I mean at the end of the day, we all grown men, we all made it to college for a reason because we got a talent, we got a skill level. So it doesn't really take that much to help a player out. It's just that small little thing that you can tell them or help them in certain things. Like maybe you want to slow down on this, or maybe you want to run this route like this, or catch the ball like this in this certain situation. Like it's real helpful because Coach Cox, Coach Wells, they talk about it all the time. Like you're only as good as your bottom 10. Like you can't like say like somebody goes down you got to rely on that next man up. So you don't want that person behind you. You don't want to in practice and the whole week you just not helping him out, or you just okay, yeah, he's just gonna do it like this and he'll be all right. You ain't got to worry about him. Nah, you want to coach him up because at the end of the day, you go out, that person step up and he do good, or shoot, even just the competition level. You don't want like for me personally. I don't want to feel I like, and I make myself that way. I don't want to feel complacent, and just having somebody that compete with me, regardless of the fact, like that, it make me work harder. And I just feel like that was the thing that me and DQ had last year. Going like, that's my brother. Like I love him to death, and it was just always a competition. And I just feel like each and every game we got each other better, and that's how me and him he had a great season. He was on the road to a great season. Then eventually he got hurt. But it's just and that's like I just said like the next man up. He ended up getting hurt like towards the middle of the season, and I had to step up. And I just took like the coaching from like I said from before from the older guys like Miles. not Miles, Matt and DQ. Like even when he wasn't playing, hey yeah, like this right here, he not gonna run like this, or he just coaching me up and helping me because like of course I'm a freshman and he's been in here for a long time, so he's just coaching me up, helping me out, and it's just like I said, next man mentality, and it just worked. It worked in my favor. God was on my he was on my side with me. He just yeah.
That speaks to the culture of the team and the culture that the program has built. And also, that was like what you're giving us right now is incredible insight. And just, it really is so cool, to get into the mind of a receiver and a mind of a guy who's got to lead an offense out there week in and week out. So I do appreciate that. I am curious, I don't live in the age of having general managers on college football teams. I'm graduated now, but has there been any kind of change with your position coach, your guy, Coach Cox, is now the general manager? Was that, a title change? I'm sure he does a lot in the office. Have you noticed a lot of changes, or is that just something, that he goes and does on his own, but that you're just happy for him with?
Yeah, I'm definitely just happy for Coach Cox. God blessed him and gave him a better opportunity, doing not like he's doing bigger things, but he's still with us. Like he keeps all that to a minimum. Like he's a receiver coach. He coaches us up. He's the same person that he is on the field and off the field. Like he care for you, and he gonna always coach you up regardless of the situation. And I just think him getting that new spot. It was never like a to me personally, and I say like everybody, it was never really like a drastic change in how he moved and how he did everything. He just still the same person, still the same same coach you the same way hard. Like whenever you mess up, they gonna yell at you. That's it. That's part of coaching. You gotta take it, and then like he always say, don't listen to the like the voice, listen to the message. Like don't listen like how he takes it. Like if he yelling at you, don't look at it as, oh, he getting on to me, like dang, like why he getting on to me. Just look at it as, okay, he trying to coach me up, like to make me a better player and a better person.
That's such a good coaching point right there. I don't know. I think I have heard him say that to people. That is an incredible coaching point. But, that was one of those things when that news broke, general manager Coach Cox, that was something that, like, it's a guy who's just deserving of it. I know you guys love him as your coach, but, I didn't have him as a coach in terms of over my position group, but just talk about a great leader and a great person. And I won't hold you. I know you've been doing media all night, so I really do appreciate you being on this show, and I can't thank you enough for the insight that you're giving. These answers are awesome, and it gives us kind of just that pathway into the locker room and into, the day in the life of a receiver. The last question I will ask you, and we talked about Tarleton, but let's talk about EKU. What's the message coming out of last week as an offense? Because, I think there's something from offense, there's something from defense, and there's something from special teams, unfortunately, that could be taken away from last week. But just in the position room that you're in and the offensive room that you're in, what's the message for you guys to get right back on track like you were against Austin P in that second half? And, what are you guys looking to maybe change or just, do this weekend on Saturday?
We just got to come out and dominate at the end of the day. Like I said before, like we watch film, they love to run, man. We just got to win, like receiver wise. We got to win our one-on-one battles. And I feel like the run game is going to be there, but personally, I feel like in the passing game, I feel like it's gonna come down to receivers and who's gonna make a play. And from watching film, I definitely feel like we have the better skills. And like I said, it's just gonna come down to us just making plays. We just gotta come out fast. We gotta come out score. Regardless of the fact our defense is gonna do their job. Our defense probably got one of the best defenses in the conference, really in the FCS to me personally. And like I said, we just gotta, like Austin P, like you said, second half, the whole offense, defense, and special teams was clicking. And I think that's just one thing we all gotta do. We just gotta have that. We gotta have that energy. We gotta have that juice with each other and come out, and we're gonna come out on top.
Absolutely. Well, Marcus, like I said, I won't hold you too long, but I'm so grateful that you came on to have someone with the insight that you have and also the abilities that you have. And I mean, I'm not even going to ask, but it looks like you might have been doing curls in between media sessions right now. I mean, you look like you have not taken a day off this week out of the weight room, which is also good to see. And maybe it's why you're putting cornerbacks and safeties on their rear ends. But
Yeah, shout out to Coach Brown right there.
shout out to Coach Brown. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We're excited to see you protect the kid. 11 in a row is what we're going for at home on homecoming. I'm sure you're going to ball out. Just thank you for giving me the time today.
For sure, no problem. You going to be there?
I'm out of town this weekend. I'll be tuning in, though. I'll be tuning in.
That's all that matters.
I'm out of town this weekend, and I'm at every home game after this weekend.
All right, that's the bet. I see TJ give you a he said he was gonna give you a touchdown. I'm gonna try to give you 2 touchdowns.
All right. If that happens, we might need to have both of you back on this show because we might be onto something here. So I believe in both of you. I think we can make it happen.
I don't know if you know, but TJ's my roommate.
Is he there right now?
Yeah, he right here.
Hey, I didn't know you guys are living together. What's up?
Yeah, that's my roommate, man.
So, man, did you guys have to coordinate being on this show? Did you have to be like?
Yeah, he went to the little lounge area. So.
Oh man, is that why I was having some mic problems over there? Did I come up?
Next segment with me and Calwise asking you questions.
All right, deal. We'll do that. Okay, you guys. If you guys both turn in touchdowns, we'll do the whole show flip next week. You can just quit me.
All right, that's a bet.
That sounds good. Well, I'll let you guys get back to it. I really can't say it enough. Thank you so much for being on this show today. And
I appreciate you having me.
Let's go kick some butt this weekend.
For sure.
Awesome. That's Marcus Calwise, number 3 wide receiver for EKU, and number 86 TJ Mitchell, his roommate. We could have a very different show for you guys next week, so that's exciting. I hope that happens. I think that would mean that both of them had incredible games and EKU came out on top. Just briefly, I'll preview the game. Obviously, we talk about it. Tarleton State's number 3 in the country. They've lost 3 FCS games since October 14th of 2023, a random stat that I pulled. 2 out of those 3 games were EKU the past 2 times that we played. So in October 14th of 23, it was a double overtime game at home. And then last year, obviously, EKU had gone on the road, beat Tarleton, number 7 team in the country. So, the coaches have been there. The coaches have seen it. The coaches know the game plan. So, I'm excited to see what this game this weekend has to bring. EKU has shown it before as well, beating number 15 ranked Austin Peay, one of the best teams in the conference and in one of the best conferences in FCS. So, if you lost faith after an unfortunate loss last week, then you're crazy, because EKU has shown before that, we may drop one here and there. And it's good to hear that insight with, the lapse of, we're playing 1-5 this week, but we're playing Tarleton next week. So hopefully, that just snapped them back into shape and locked them in. And we see that same team that we saw 2 weeks ago, and hopefully even better. Number 3 team in the country, number 2 scoring offense, number 11 scoring defense, only allowing 17 points a game. But yeah, on offense, they are number 4 in pass efficiency, number 7 in rushing efficiency, and only 4 turnovers on the entire year. So incredible offense. It's an interesting offensive scheme. They're going to run essentially what seems like an RPO every play with a slow mesh. They're going to watch the safety or the linebacker. And if they do anything up towards the run game, they're going to try to beat you one-on-one and put your corners on an island on the outside. So it's an exciting game. Like I said, we've seen it before. That offense has been there a little while. They've had a lot of success, but, Coach Johnson, the defense, and different people have been able to scheme it up. So, we just hope for that. But they are an incredible team coming in for homecoming at the Kid, 3:00 on Saturday. I hope everyone shows out. Unfortunately, I am out of town, but I hope everyone shows out, because the Maroon momentum, the Maroon Doom defense, all of these people need you this weekend. So very excited for this opportunity for EKU, and hope that you all are able to show out. And I just want to give one last shout out to John Clark State Farm for being a reliable partner. not only in insurance, but just reliable people that are going to be there for you outside of insurance aside. You know, John Clark, a stand-up guy, and you can always count on Clark. So do remember that. Let's go, Colonels. Let's get back on the winning path and let's go on a run. Thank you for tuning in. Until next week, where we may have a very different show, I will sign off here on the Maroon Momentum Show, and we will see. Hopefully it switches up next week like TJ and Marcus presented that little prop. So with that said, go Colonels.